a decent strategy. If the Democrats are not going to let it go, what do? You agree and amplify. Oh, you want to release the Epstein files, do you? Perfect. You know who knows a lot about those? Bill Clinton, who's on the airplane all the time. A lot of this stuff, I think, these people are criminals many times over, but maybe not actually criminals for the Epstein stuff. They were just kind of there for it. Moreover, your husband was also allegedly close to Maxwell, while Maxwell's nephew worked for your presidential campaign. Wow, I didn't know that little nugget. Subpoenas now going out from James Comer and the Oversight Committee, and the people on the receiving end of these subpoenas are numerous, and the names are glorious. We've got Secretary of State, former Hillary Clinton, who was never the president. Oh, that must sting. Former Secretary of State. Oh, brutal. So she's getting a subpoena, and she's got to come in on October 9th. But we've got Clinton, Hillary, Clinton, Bill getting one. Merrick Garland, James Comey, FBI, Bill Barr, Trump's U.S. Attorney General, ran the Justice Department there. Alberto Gonzales, who is Bush's Attorney General, who was running things when Acosta was the individual who did the original plea deal with Epstein. We got Mueller, Loretta Lynch. You remember Robert Mueller, the Mueller report. Loretta Lynch, the Obama Attorney General, and Eric Holder, Obama's Attorney General. All getting subpoenas for different dates and times. And so there's going to be a lot happening in this case. Now, what was curious about this, I thought this was interesting. I was expecting a lot of these people to be subpoenaed, not for the Epstein stuff per se, but for the Obama coup. Okay, like they could all be subpoenaed for a bunch of different reasons, including Crossfire Hurricane and the Trump-Russia collusion hoax and all the criminality that they engaged in for that. But that's not what this is about. This is about Epstein. And it's curious because this is where they're starting in Congress. And here's what the Oversight Committee said. All right, here's the background. Comer now sends these subpoenas to Bill and Hillary and former U.S. attorneys, FBI directors, and everything, all related to Epstein. And I think this is an interesting strategy. We know that Trump and the Trump administration doesn't want to talk about it. I mean, they have made that pretty dang obvious to everybody. But the Democrats will, and they're going to continue to until either Trump leaves office or until they get some sort of power, because that's all this is about for them, really, is just a political tool. They didn't care about Epstein at all. In fact, remember when Acosta, the former prosecutor, when he was coming through for confirmation hearings, they all voted him in. He got approved. Democrats, too, voted for it because he's a lifer institutionalist, right, until the Epstein situation blew up again. So what we're seeing here out of Congress, I think, is, a decent strategy. If the Democrats are not going to let it go, what do? You agree and amplify. Oh, you want to release the Epstein files, do you? Perfect. You know who knows a lot about those? Bill Clinton, who was on the airplane all the time, as we know, like door dashing back and forth to the island. So sure, we'll request the records, and we'll start with Bill and Hillary. So House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform Chairman James Comer today issued deposition subpoenas to Bill and Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Loretta Lynch, you know the names, all of them for testimony related to the Jeffrey Epstein crimes. Now, additionally, Comer also issued a subpoena to Pam Bondi and the DOJ for the Epstein records. These subpoenas follow recent action by Oversight, which approved motions to subpoena these records and to compel witness testimony. Now, on July 23rd, not long ago, weeks ago, Republicans and Democrats on the Federal Law Enforcement Committee approved a motion by Scott Perry, a representative out of Pennsylvania, to approve these subpoenas, and we have now done that. Now, the subcommittee also responded to an amended motion by a Democrat, okay? Representative Summer Lee's a Democrat out of Pennsylvania, so she's on too, and they voted by a vote of 8-2. Democrats on board to subpoena the DOJ to release the records related to Epstein. Andy Biggs and his amendment from Arizona says to include the release of all communications between Biden and the Biden officials and the DOJ related to Epstein. That was all adopted by voice vote as well. Nancy Mace also had an amendment redacting the names of the victims and any information. Yes, got it. And we can take a look at all of them, and we will. So here is the subpoena that went over to Pamela J. Bondi. It says, all right, Pam, we need some records, and we want you to produce the following list of materials to us by August 19th at 12 p.m. noon. It's not about a deposition. It's not going to be testifying at a hearing. It's just give us some documents. And what documents do we want? Here we go. In accordance with the schedule of instructions to you, Pam, you are now required by Congress to produce the following documents and communications that are in your possession, custody, or control in the unredacted form, except you can redact some things that are personal information and, of course, any CSAM material and follow the DOJ manual. And this is curious, okay, because we've been asking about this. We've had this question about, well, what is the universe of all the potential documents? And the grand jury transcripts are just a tiny little sliver, a little hair hair pricked out of the Epstein hair. Well, here you go. Here's a bit of information for you, America. Have some. Well, okay, we want a little bit more than that. Can we get the exhibits at least? No. All right. Can we get any? No. Stop talking about it, you weaklings, and move on. And now what they're asking for is the entire case file. So it's not just a little sliver of grand jury stuff. It's not the exhibits. It's the whole thing, because there's a bunch of stuff in a case file that is never even presented to the grand jury. So they say, all right, here's what we want. All documents and communications relating or referring to Epstein or Maxwell and further relating or referring to trafficking, exploitation, or anything. Okay, that's like broad, man. Any emails that have their names, we want it. All documents and communications contained within the case file in the Epstein case. All documents and communications in the Maxwell case. All documents and communications that came out of the 2007 non-prosecution agreement between the U.S. attorney in Florida and Epstein. And that was Acosta. That was the U.S. attorney who gave him, we thought, was going to be a 60-count indictment that then got settled. And then, of course, Acosta came back down years later after he was running for Department of Labor person, came out, defended himself, said, you're lucky we got anything out of Epstein. He wouldn't have done a day in jail if it wasn't for me, you ingrates. All documents and communications related to Epstein, Maxwell, and the investigation that resulted in the non-prosecution agreement in Florida. All documents and communications between the Executive Office of the Presidency and Joe Biden referencing Maxwell and the investigation of Epstein that resulted in the 2007 non-prosecution agreement. All documents and communications relating or referring to the death of Epstein. And in complying with the subpoena, Pam, you are required to produce all responsive documents and give them over. In the event that anything, the committee is going to receive electronic documents are fine. If you want to put them on a CD, we'll take it. If the subpoenaed information is only available on like a computer server or something, let us know. We'll come over. If you can't comply by August 19th, let us know. In the event that any document is withheld, give us a log, tell us why. In complying with this, make sure you let us know about your privileges. And if you think that you have stuff that is not in your possession anymore, let us know. If a date or descriptive detail is inaccurate, but you know the actual date, let us know. All documents shall be dates stamped sequentially and produced sequentially, which is so it's kind of like an indexing in a library so you know where the documents are. This subpoena is continuing in nature and applies to new information too. And we want 2 sets of documents, okay? So go to Kinko's and make 2 copies. Majority staff and minority staff get their copies. And once you're done, let us know that you've done a diligent search of everything. And this includes everything. When we say document, we mean everything. I want sticky notes, okay? We want everything. Did you scribble something on a napkin? Put it in there. Yeah, but it's like, put it in there. Everything. Emails, cables, bulletins, photographs, electronic, mechanical. This is a good list of stuff. It says here, the communication doesn't matter how it was sent, emails, text messages, and or are broadly. That's great. Because I was reading that. I'm like, well, was there an and in that first page? And there was, saying here, and, right? Or Miss Maxwell. And so is it only going to be this and that? Or was it an or? So they can only give you that or the other one? Does it have to be multiple things connected together? All right. Anyways, so they say, look, if it's going to be anything like that, you're to interpret it broadly. And the masculine includes the feminine as well. So don't get cute with this. Give us all the documents. So don't be like, well, it's Maxwell materials, but we were talking about a dude here. So it's like, well, it's a dude. Maxwell's a woman. So I guess we can't give anything there. Give it. The term person or persons means everybody, and relating to means everything. So give us the files. Now we've got all that. Then the cover sheets went out as well. And here is what these look like. All right, here, Gonzalez. You know, the subcommittee has voted to bring you in for a deposition and issue a subpoena on your booty. Now, your tenure as the Attorney General from 05 to 07 coincided when Epstein was being investigated. And in fact, they prepared a 60-count indictment of Epstein. Remember, we're wondering, they panel a grand jury? Because he was never charged. He took a plea deal before they could even get the grand jury off the ground. They settled the case and gave like a broad immunity provision for all of his co-conspirators. Weirdest thing ever. So why did this happen? Pursuant to this direction, we got a subpoena for you. On July 6th, federal authorities arrested Epstein, 2019. He's dead like a month later. And 2 days later, an indictment was unsealed in the Southern District of New York. Trafficking and conspiracy. Now, according to the indictment, Epstein exploited and abused dozens of minors at his home in various locations. Now, the indictment said that he enticed girls as young as 14 to engage in acts in exchange for money. Not the first time he'd been investigated either. In fact, in 2008, he pled guilty in Florida state court to 2 prostitution offenses, and in exchange, he and his co-conspirators got immunity from federal prosecution that came out when you were the AG. On August 10th, while in federal custody, Epstein died. The chief medical examiner ruled his death as suicide. Bill Barr came out too. Remember, Bill Barr was like doing pom-poms and like leg kicks. It's like suicide. Yeah, killed himself. Yeah, Bill Barr. The chief medical Examiner of New York ruled death a suicide. And then subsequently, they flipped out. They're like, oh crap, Epstein's probably back on his island now, so we better go get someone else. So then they went after Maxwell and got her instead. So they got her for 20 years for abusing minors. Now, the facts and circumstances surrounding both these cases have received immense public interest and scrutiny. At the outset of the 119th Congress, the committee in 2025 sent a letter to the DOJ. We wanted a briefing back then in February. On May 8th, the task force sent another letter to the DOJ requesting the public release of the entirety of the files and a briefing. But then on July 17th, Trump posted on True Social. He said, I've asked Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval, which we're probably not going to get, so it's kind of meaningless. Okay, they'll give you something. No, you're not going to give us anything. On July 18th, in response to the president's direction, Bondi posted a motion on X. Our motion has been filed. Great. Well, and Maxwell, of course, filed her response, and she is objecting to it. So you can see here, she opposes the unsealing of anything because she is the keymaster. She has all of the information. And if you start giving it out in grand jury transcripts to the public at large, well, then what good is she? Her information has no more value. So, all right. So they're playing this little game of legal patty cake back and forth. Okay, that baker's man. On July 28th, Attorney General Bondi posted a statement from Todd Blanche. Blanche said, if Maxwell has information about anyone who has committed crimes, the FBI and the DOJ are going to hear what she has to say. Blanche said, this Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truths, nor from the responsibility to pursue justice wherever the facts may lead. Now, while the DOJ undertakes efforts to uncover and publicly disclose additional information, and we're also asking whether Todd Blanche and the DOJ will release the audio or the transcript of their interview with Maxwell, while Congress is working, saying, we are going to conduct our oversight because we don't want trafficking to happen in our country. We specifically want to know how you've handled this. And this one's going to Bush's AG. So the committee may use the results of this investigation to inform legislative solutions to improve efforts to combat these types of people and crimes. You were the Attorney General when Epstein was under investigation and when the non-prosecution agreement was negotiated by the DOJ. And so you've got knowledge and we want to hear from you. And then, of course, the boilerplate language we see. We've got a lot of power to do this, Rule 10, so you better give us some information. Sincerely, your friend, James Comer. This is a nice letter in comparison to that. It's just like, hey, you're going to show up. We got questions for this, so get here soon. Now, another one went out to Lynch. All right, Loretta, we unanimously voted to bring your butt in here. During your tenure, the DOJ was litigating against victims of Jeffrey Epstein, who alleged that the department had violated their rights under the Crimes Act in negotiating this deal. And so since you were involved in that, right, the victims suing the government, you guys let us all down. You have a responsibility to investigate these crimes. You covered up for this dude for whatever reason. And now we want justice. So they sued. And of course, Loretta Lynch said, get out of here. Jeffrey Epstein's ours. Leave him alone. You're just losers anyways. We've also got Robert Mueller. He's getting a subpoena. This is for the Epstein stuff. And again, a lot of this stuff, I think these people are criminals many times over, but maybe not actually criminals for the Epstein stuff. They were just kind of there for it. We'll see what they have to say about it, but this is the start of something big. I can feel it. So here, Mueller, guess what? During your tenure as the director of the FBI from 2001 to 2013, you investigated Epstein. Did you cover up for him too, Robert? Pursuant to this direction, please see the attached subpoena and get your butt over here, copy and pasted yet again, saying we've got the power to do this. Sincerely, your friend Comer. So we got another one. Bill Barr. Your tenure as AG, that your second time, began in 2019, and it coincided with the prosecution of Epstein, as well as his eventual death while it was in your care. And it also coincided with the indictment of Maxwell, which stemmed from Epstein. And so, Barr, you're coming in. Next up, we've got this one. Bill Clinton. All right, Bill, guess what? You know, by your own admission, you flew on Epstein's private plane 4 separate times, according to you, in 2002 and 2003. During one of these trips, you were even pictured getting a massage on his neck from one of Epstein's victims. Bill, it has been claimed that you pressured Vanity Fair not to publish sex trafficking allegations against your good friend Epstein, and there are conflicting reports about whether you ever visited his island. Now, you were also allegedly close to Maxwell, a co-conspirator, and you attended an intimate dinner with her in 2014. How intimate. 3 years after public reports about her involvement in Epstein's abuse of minors. Bill's like, oh, she seems nice. Abusing minors. She seems perfect for me. Let's set up a meeting. Pursuant to this direction, please see the subpoena. And Bill, you can answer all the questions about that right in front of Congress. How delicious. We know who Hillary is. She's getting another one, but she didn't get one yet. Now we've got Merrick Garland. On July 23rd, we voted to bring your butt in here. During your tenure as AG from 21 to 25, this resulted, your DOJ, in the conviction of Maxwell for crimes linked to Epstein. And so because your DOJ prosecuted her, you've got some info and input on the files, and so therefore you are now subpoenaed, Merrick. Come on in here and have a seat. So these are massive people. Next, we got Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He's getting one. During your tenure as AG from 17 to 18, the DOJ was litigating against victims of Epstein, Jeff Sessions, saying that the DOJ violated their rights. They shouldn't have given him blanket immunity and all the co-conspirators without consulting with the victims. So how did this non-prosecution agreement get effectuated? And while you were AG, the department may have been engaging in an investigation of Epstein that led to his final arrest in 19. And so let us know what you know and get ready for your depo. Rest of it, copy and pasted again from Comer. Now, James Comey. Oh, he's getting one too. All right, James, we're issuing a subpoena for you. And this was not much information on that paragraph. So just you got a subpoena. We'll see you there and come ready to talk. Then as we round out the letters, the cover sheets for these potential prospective co-conspirators, Hillary Clinton is next. Says on here on this, the subcommittee is voting to approve this. Your family, Hillary, appears to have had a close relationship with both Epstein and Ghislaine. For example, your husband is called Bill Clinton, and by his own admission, did you know this, Hillary? He flew on the private plane 4 times. What was that for, Hillary? In 2002 and 2003, on trips for your family's foundation. Yeah, right. The Clinton Foundation. During one of these trips, he was even pictures getting a massage from one of Epstein's victims. Did Hillary ever seen that? Well, she has now. Moreover, your husband was also allegedly close to Maxwell, while Maxwell's nephew worked for your presidential campaign. Wow, I didn't know that little nugget. Maxwell's nephew worked for Hillary and was hired by Hillary after you became the Secretary of State. Man, that's a good one right there. Times of Israel reported on that. So pursuant to this direction, Hillary, please see the subpoena, and we'll see you back here in Washington on October 9th, 2025. Can't wait for it. Now, we also got Eric Holder. He's getting a subpoena. All right, you, Holder, were the AG from 09 to 15. Many victims of Epstein filed a lawsuit saying the DOJ violated their rights, and now we've got questions for you. And so Holder's getting one. And last but not least, this is Pam Bondi. They say, Pam, we sent you a subpoena. We want the full, complete, and unredacted Epstein files, and so send them over post haste. Sincerely, James Comer and the Oversight Committee. So lots coming out from them. James Comey is responding to this. He made a video yesterday.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my Substack. After last week's video, I'm guessing you spent 7 days laughing and chuckling and looking for healthy summer obsessions. Well done.
No, we didn't. These people are so weird. Look at this right here. He says, former government person, author, teacher, father, and grandfather, tall and really quite funny. That's not funny. Anybody who says that I'm really quite funny is not that funny at all. We also know that there are a bunch of other reports that are coming out about how bad the FBI was, speaking of Comey and all these people. So we've got the Epstein files, which are now getting dug into, but there's a bunch of other stuff and other crimes that are also happening as well. And we might have a criminal conspiracy that was emanating back from 2015, really, with the Obama-Hillary people, all the way up until the raid, even currently, because Brennan and Clapper are still out trying to cover up the conspiracy, which was the intent of the original conspiracy. So Real Clear Politics says the FBI overseeing the investigation of Trump's handling of all this is also focusing on John Durham's investigation as well. The raid was investigated, Crossfire Hurricane, Brian Otten. You remember all these people. And so the names, it's the same names. It's the same set of names who are all getting subpoenaed. And so we see a bunch of Congress people very excited about this. Tim Burchett said, this deep state is very nervous right now. Hillary and Bill will be receiving subpoenas to testify on Epstein. Says, I'm confident, Tim Burchett says, I'm confident that GOP oversight will help shed light on the disgusting crimes committed against children. Thank you, Comer, for your leadership on this one. Marjorie Taylor Greene also came out today. She's excited. Epstein subpoena is issued, baby. The DOJ was also subpoenaed. It's time for the truth to be revealed to the American people. No more cover-ups, no more lies. The Epstein files is not a hoax. He was a convicted PDF file, and we demand to know the rich, powerful elites who approved of and participated in his evil ways. Why did no one stop him or save those girls? I'm determined to find out. From Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Anna Paulina Luna also posted saying, Bill and Hillary are going to be getting subpoenas, and we're looking forward to it. So just sharing the good news on it. And of course, all that is great. Even a Democrat, Representative Summer Lee, she's from Pennsylvania, says we got the votes now. Justice has to apply to everybody, no matter how rich, how powerful, and connected they all are.